طالعين نحن من المعادي ومن الأصيلة، جمعنا من المعادي وطلعنا فرد طلع. هون عسكري حجاج ثبتنا قلنا مشان نطلع فرد طلع. نحن سبقناهم لهون، هن هون وقفوا امي مع غراض طبت شنطين. عطيت جلطاي قلنا له استعجلوا، ما نحس الا طبت اول قذيفه، رقدنا لهون جينا نشوفه ولا لقيت امي هون ميته هون واختي، في وحده عايشه واختي ما عنا شيء لسه بالمستشفى هون. طبت ضيفي يعني قذيفه بس ما بنحسن وقتها شيء من امر الله.
بس حلاش هلا نور كمان حلاش كمان نور طلعنا من الجور والضرب والقصف وقلة الغذاء، والولاد نشفت روحهم نشف دمهم. يعني انا والله اجر لقدام 10 لورا، والله ما لي رضا بالطلعه، بس هيك ما بطلع شيء بالايد. والله العظيم عندي مره ما في منها كل حلب ما في منها راحت. ايش بساوي؟ حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل. بس عندي بنت عمرها 9 سنين الله استشهدت، والصغيره بعدت على المستشفى ما بعرف ايش وضعها.
As ISIS retreated from this territory, it transformed the landscape into this apocalyptic vision. The group blew up and set fire to 19 oil wells near the town of Gayara. We don't know the motivation, more ruthless, vengeful destruction, or perhaps the hope it would provide cover from air power above. The fires have burned since August, lowering the sky, concealing the sun, layering the earth and people's lungs with toxic black filth.
The heat coming off this fire, it is incredible. It's melted much of the ground around the well. The air, it is thick and foul. It really tastes terrible. It makes your eyes water. And this is the poisonous atmosphere that people in this part of Iraq have been breathing in and living with for months.
There's now a desperate effort to fix the wells, but lead engineer Itlaf Mohammed tells me it's a difficult, complex process.
very technical,
He says you can't just put the fire out because that would release vast amounts of deadly fumes. First, earth-moving equipment is used to contain the fire and channel the flowing, bubbling oil into reservoirs. Then workers dig down through the flames while trying to keep the oil and their equipment cool as they haul out mounds of smoking sludge and earth. Gaze through the flames and you can see the fire's red-hot core. They need to get through all of this to find the head of the well. Only then can they determine the extent of the damage and what must be done to close it. Workers here say the nature of the job is always challenging and dangerous, and in the beginning they had to cope with ISIS as well. This man says you'll be trying to dig out the fires and they'll be shooting at you. You'll be using the hose and mortars will start coming in. The group also left mines around the burning wells. Most haven't been cleared yet. It's too early to accurately estimate the value of the wasted oil or the cost of the repair work. The final figure will be many millions of dollars. The human cost is more disturbing. Families live beneath the towering columns of smoke and a sky that always feels like twilight. Children's faces and hands are stained by the same air they breathe. A dark shadow now hangs over their health, their future, because of yet another toxic legacy left behind by ISIS. Phil Black, CNN, Guyana, Northern Iraq.
Does any senator wish to vote or change his or her vote? Hearing none, then on H.R. 6297, the yeas are 99, the nays are 0. The bill is passed.
Mr. President.
The senator from Georgia.
Defiant and definitive, North Korea's launched more than 24 prohibited ballistic missiles this year alone. And on September 9th, state TV announced Kim Jong-un's 5th successful nuclear test. US Ambassador to the UN, Samantha Power, says one Korean official likened the atmosphere to living with the Cuban Missile Crisis every day. Crucially, China's backing the sanctions, which will cut North Korea's single largest export, coal, by 62%, worth around $700 million a year. China is their biggest customer. The previous round of economic sanctions haven't slowed North Korea's nuclear program.
He is not going to cut his missile program and his nuclear program with those hundreds of millions of dollars. He's going to find other places to cut.
Sanctions on North Korea, he says, are counterproductive. Although six-party talks have been tried and failed over the years to stop proliferation, it's direct talks with the North Korean leader himself that could make the difference.
Well, opening a dialogue.
President-elect Trump has in the past said he'd have no problem speaking directly to Kim Jong-un, even suggesting they have hamburgers instead of a state dinner. But he's also said North Korea is China's problem to solve, and he'd pressure them to deal with the regime.
Offering him a better future for his regime and for his country. That's what worked in China. That's what worked in most of Asia.
It's a country criticized by the U.S. for failing to crack down on terrorism. President-elect Donald Trump says Pakistan is doing, quote, amazing work in every way. A message Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif said Trump delivered in a phone call Wednesday, promising to play any role to solve Pakistan's problems. Sharif's office quoting Trump as saying he would love to come to a fantastic country, fantastic place of fantastic people. Trump's team described the conversation as productive. It's a far cry from the troubled country he described during the campaign.
Pakistan is a very, very vital problem and really vital country for us because they have a thing called nuclear weapons. They have to get a hold of their situation.
And no mention of his pledge to ban immigrants from terrorist havens like Pakistan. The change in tone has one longtime diplomat questioning Trump's intent.
I think what we're seeing in these early days is a certain amount of winging it.
The State Department said it had no part in briefing Trump beforehand.
We had no discussion with President-elect Trump prior to that call.
Kazakhstan announced Trump also fawned over its president, who has had an iron grip on the country since 1991 and has been slammed by human rights groups for torture. The transition said the two leaders spoke about closer ties, but President Nazarbayev said Trump told him that under his leadership, Kazakhstan's success was a, quote, miracle.
What you don't want to do is give off a lot of signals that you didn't mean to give and then have to, reverse course.
Trump didn't shy away from grandiose praise for U.S. adversaries on the campaign trail, saying this to NBC News about Vladimir Putin.
If he says great things about me, I'm going to say great things about him.
After insulting some Mexicans during the campaign, he took heat when he didn't bring up his signature issue in a meeting with Mexico's president.
Who pays for the wall we didn't discuss.
Despite U.S. tensions with Egypt over its crackdown of political opponents, Trump had nothing but praise for President el-Sisi, telling Fox Business News after meeting him in New York.
He's a fantastic guy. He took control of Egypt, and he really took control of it. There was a good chemistry.
Fidel Castro's ashes are en route to the Cuban leader's final resting place, Santiago de Cuba. Along the way, hundreds of thousands of people line the streets to pay their respects, part of 9 days of mourning.
I feel so bad because he's the commandant of the revolution.
Castro's funeral will take place Sunday at the birthplace of the revolution. During his nearly 60 years in power, Castro ignored human rights and imprisoned those who opposed him. For the past decade, Castro's younger brother Raul has been president. Raul Castro spoke at a mass for his brother.
Forever, onwards to victory.
He is yet to give clues to the nation's future direction. Until then, those in Cuba and the United States will wait to see what the horizon holds.
Donald Trump is back in campaign mode, giving one of his signature fiery speeches to an enthusiastic crowd. He's still asking for support, this time as he prepares to go into the White House.
I am going to need you to fight as hard for these proposals as you fought for this great campaign of ours.
He repeated familiar promises.
We will finally end illegal immigration. We will construct a great wall. And by the way, we are repealing and replacing Obamacare.
It's the latest in Trump's shifting position on health care. Last month, he told 60 Minutes that he would be open to keeping parts of Obamacare. He later tapped Tom Price, a fervent critic of the Affordable Care Act, as Health and Human Services Secretary. Trump made another big announcement regarding his cabinet.
We are going to appoint Mad Dog Mattis as our Secretary of Defense.
James Mattis is a retired Marine general with 44 years of service under his belt. In 2004, he led troops into Fallujah, the bloodiest battle in the Iraq War. Mattis is the latest appointee to a cabinet that's drawing criticism, mainly for including several mega-wealthy insiders.
He's putting Wall Street insiders into exactly the jobs where he criticized Wall Street insiders before.
But loyal supporters aren't concerned.
Yeah, they're billionaires, but they're smart with their money. We're going to be smart with America's money.
I'm Yasmin Amer, reporting.
So should I say you mean to be conserved? So should I say like about 1 million? Yes. This is correct. I think that's correct. Because if you still say this is like 100,000, it's more than 100,000. 1 million is a lot. Yeah.
Polis okulu! Rahat! Hazır ol! Marş!
میخواهند سنت شکنی کنند، آن هم در جامعه‌ای که مفهوم امنیت از مهمترین دغدغه‌های مردم این کشور است. زن بودن در خاورمیانه به ویژه در افغانستان شاید بیش از هر جای دیگری ضرورت امنیت را معنادار می‌کند. اینجا آکادمی پلیس شهر سیواس در مرکز ترکیه است. عده‌ای از دختران پلیس افغان در این مکان زیر نظر مربیان ترک دوره‌های آموزشی خودشون رو می‌گذرونند. آموزش‌هایی در زمینه سیستم‌های امنیتی، تجهیزات مواد منفجره، خشونت‌های خانوادگی و اجتماعی مانند خشونت علیه زنان و آموزش‌های امنیتی و ضد ترور. در 5 مارس سال 2011 میلادی توافقنامه‌ای میان دو دولت افغانستان و ترکیه به امضا رسید که بر اساس آن آکادمی پلیس سیواس مسئولیت آموزش بخشی از پلیس ملی افغانستان را بر عهده گرفت. از آن زمان تا کنون 3000 نیروی پلیس زن و مرد افغان در این آکادمی آموزش دیدند و در سراسر افغانستان مشغول به خدمت شدند. به جز ترکیه، کشورهای دیگری هم در زمینه آموزش نیروهای پلیس دولت افغانستان رو یاری می‌کنند. آمریکا، ژاپن و اتحادیه اروپا. اما جای یک کشور خالی است: ایران. به نظر می‌رسد برای حاکمان در ایران دغدغه آموزش نیروهای نظامی در کشورهایی مثل سوریه، لبنان، یمن و حتی برخی کشورهای افریقایی دغدغه مهمتری باشد. این زنان برای استخدام در نیروی پلیس کشورشان با محدودیت‌های اجتماعی زیادی روبرو هستند. نظیفه، یکی از دانشجویان، میگوید هنوز در افغانستان این فرهنگ جا نیفتاده که زنان پلیس در کنار مردان خدمت کنند. او میگوید پلیس زن بودن در افغانستان شرم و ننگ محسوب می‌شود، اما ما می‌خواهیم سنت شکنی کنیم. با وجود این محدودیت‌های فرهنگی، نشانه‌های امیدبخشی هم دیده میشه. سیما گل میگوید دولت افغانستان در این زمینه اونها رو تشویق کرده و امکانات لازم رو در اختیارشون قرار داده. اینجا البته همیشه هم صحبت از آموزش‌های خشک و خشن دوره‌های پلیسی نیست. زن شرقی که باشی، زن افغان که باشی، با خودت دلبرانه‌هایت را در هر کجای جهان هم که باشد پراکنده می‌کنی. آیا این زنان می توانند مرهمی بر زخم‌های کهنه سرزمینشان باشند؟ در سرزمینی که رویش شیران دره پنجشیر از دامان زنانش را عادت دارد، شاید هیچ چیز ناممکن نباشد.
بگو از ما بگو با دلبری ما لیلا، بگو از ما بیاری از خری ما لیلا. اگر مردانه در سنگر بمانی لیلا، همیشه میشوی تاج سر ما لیلا. تناز است لیلا، بال یک پرواز است لیلا، یار یک سرباز است لیلا.